Well, good evening. We want to welcome you to In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman. And I tell you guys, we are so excited to be with you live and in living color. I tell you, it's just been such an awesome year. We have about, what, baby, about 3 more weeks? 3 more weeks before the end or the closing of 2020. And I tell you guys, this has been a year for the books, a year for the history books. There's been some interesting, some phenomenal, some outstanding, some whatever type of adjectives and adverbs you can add to this year. It has been pretty much some of all of it. And I tell you, but for us, it has just been flat out exciting. And so we are so encouraged, and we want to encourage you as we come to the end of this year or the close of this year to remain grateful, to remain thankful. I don't care what this year has presented. I don't care what things you have gone through, what has transpired. Remain grateful and thankful. Always remember that there's somebody that wish they were in your shoes. I don't care how dirty your shoes are, or how clean your shoes are, or how big or how small your shoes are. There's always someone that wish they were in your shoes. Believe that.
Yeah.
Believe that. You know, a lot of times, baby, we look at people have looked at situations, especially when things don't look quote unquote favorable. They looked at those situations and not realizing that, guess what? It's not as bad as it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's bad, it's not as bad as it seems. It's not as bad as it seems. And, you know, I could hear, you know, somebody watching us right now talking about, well, you don't know what it is that I've gone through, or you don't know what it is that I'm going through. You're right, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know this, you're going through.
Right.
And that's the difference. It's not that you're in it, but that you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we don't look at the fact that we are going through.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it would be grand and whatever else you want to say about not having to go through anything. But guess what? There are lessons.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of the things that we say in business. We don't look at losses. We look at them as lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some things that you can take out of that lesson or out of that loss that you can learn from it and apply it at a future date. And guess what? You won't get those same results if you take the lesson out of that loss.
Right.
And so many, I'm telling you guys, listen, this year has been one for the books. But guess what? 2020 has produced so many millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
I know people lost their jobs. I know people lost their homes. I know, guess what? People lost their lives. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
But understand that there was some other things that was transpiring in this year that we can praise God about.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other things that transpired in this year that we can say, God, I thank you. Because there were so many people that tapped into their creative nature,
Mm-hmm.
that tapped into their creative being and thought of ideas that they would have never thought about in 2019. They would have never thought about in 2018. They would have never thought about in 2017. There's so many people. This one of the things that blow my mind. There are people that are making six figures and guess what they're doing? They're making masks. Who would have thought that you can make something that bank robbers use and now you making six figures? People making masks and they making buku money. Y'all know what buku is, right? That's a lot. That's big. They making a whole lot of money just making masks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you guys, if you would take this opportunity to tap into those creative juices. Because remember, he created us in his image and in his likeness. And since he's the creator, we are creators. And so you have the ability right now to create your right now. I don't care how terrible, how upsetting, how bad, how frightening, how upsetting, how disappointing yesterday was. Today is the start of a new day. Today is the start of a new life, and all you got to do is tap into it. All you got to do is want this thing. Mm-hmm. And what you want, understand, is already here. That breakthrough is already here. That miracle is already here. That manifestation is already here. What you want is not coming, it's here.
It's here. That business.
That business
is already here.
It's already here. What you want is already here. Many of you looking right now, you're waiting for something to come, and all you got to do is just grab it because it's already here. Mm-hmm. This is how we know it's already here. 2 times we heard this. God said it at the end. Jesus said on the cross, it's finished. It's finished. That was confirmation. It is finished. There's nothing new taking place. It's already here. I think it was my man Da Vinci said that the guy said, wow, man, that is such a designer original. Mm-hmm. That painting is such an original. And he looked at the man and said, no, it's not. He said, well, what do you mean? Are you telling me that there's another copy of this somewhere? Mm-hmm. He said, no, understand this. I dream my paintings and then I paint my dreams. So that dream that you have, that vision that you have, that idea that you have is already here. All you got to do now is walk it out. All you got to do now is put foot in action to what you've already seen. The picture, the painting that's already been painted in the depths of your imagination. All you got to do now is walk that thing out. And guess what? It will be just like you saw it. It will be just, I talk about this a lot, man, because when I really sat down and thought about this, it was mind blowing. We got this cat, man. You know this cat named Kanye. Mm-hmm. And this dude was walking around, man, for years talking about, I'm a billionaire. I'm a billionaire. I'm a billionaire. You know how many folks said he was crazy? How many folks said he lunching? How many folks said he done lost his mind? Well, guess what? He done lost his $1 billion mind, whatever you want to say. Because for years he was saying he was a billionaire. And the thing about that was, I don't care what people believe, it's what you believe. Yeah. I don't care what people think, it's what you think. Because guess what? Everybody got a thought and everybody got a belief. What do you believe? What are you thinking? What are you standing on? What are you holding fast to? Because guess what? Everybody has an opinion. Opinion alike, everybody got them. That's what opinions are like. And the reality about that is, guess what? What comes out stinks. So everybody got one of those. But what are you going to do? What are you going to hold fast to? Because this year isn't over. This year is not over. It's just like, and I want you to jump on in a second, babe. It's just like Publishers Clearinghouse. Even before they knocked on your door or knocked on that door and said you are the winner, guess what? You already won.
You just didn't know it.
You just didn't know it. It's too all y'all not hearing what I'm saying. Too many people walking around not knowing who they are. Mm-hmm. Too many people right now walking around not knowing what they possess. What God has placed on the inside of them for the world to experience. Romans said it like this. The whole earth is groaning, waiting for the manifestations of the sons of God. People are waiting on you. You have neighbors waiting on you. You have husbands waiting on you, wives waiting on you, children waiting on you, parents waiting on you, family members waiting on you, aunties, uncles, you name it, they're waiting on you. They're waiting on you to manifest that dream, manifest that vision, because it's yours.
Mhm.
It's yours. God trusted you with the vision because he trusts you with the fulfillment. Oh, you're not hearing what I'm saying. He trusts you with the vision because he trusts you with the fulfillment. He would not have given you that idea if he didn't think you was the man or you were the man or the woman to bring it to pass. He wouldn't trust you with it. And you're allowing situations, circumstances, people to get you off track because the enemy knows if you grab hold to this thing, there's no stopping you. Teddy said, ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. Ain't no stopping us now, man. When you get that attitude, ain't no stopping us now. I don't care, come hell, high water, no water at all. It ain't no stopping you.
Keep on going.
You going, you moving. And you don't care what things look like, because guess what? You got a bigger picture of you.
Mm-hmm.
You got a bigger picture of you. Hey, let's talk about this for a second, sweetheart. Let's talk about this gratefulness.
Let me give a couple of definitions. Let me give a couple of definitions on grateful. Warmly or deeply appreciative of kindness or benefits received. Expressing or actuated by gratitude and pleasing to the mind of senses, agreeable or welcome, refreshing. So let's take that within the blended family. You should be grateful for your family, grateful for that spouse, yes, grateful for those children, and being grateful, showing acts of kindness. And even when, sometimes it may feel like they may, like we all say, getting on our last nerve, or they may not be acting the way that you think they should act. You may not be getting out of it what you think that you should be getting out of it, but just be grateful. You just have to be grateful. Grateful. Let me give you gratitude. I'm sorry. Gratitude is the quality or feeling of being grateful or thankful. Yes. Because no matter how bad things may seem or how bad things may feel, there's always something to be grateful for. Mm-hmm. Always something to be grateful for.
Always.
Just I don't care. Just waking up is something to be grateful for. Being able to talk, being able to see, hear, taste, touch, those senses, because everybody don't have it.
Oh, but stop right there, though, right? Not to cut you off. But you said you start off with being able to talk. Mm-hmm. Let me say this, guys, and then get right back to it, sweetheart. The Bible says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Them that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." There's some fruit that you can partake in if you learn how to speak properly. Mm-hmm. Just the mere fact that you woke up another day with the ability to speak, you have the ability to speak life and not death. Mm-hmm. You have the ability, and I know there's a lot of different debates about this, but the debate is because the ones that debating don't know who they are. Because you can call those things that be not as though they were. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't, because that's a lie. You were created in the image and likeness of God. That means God said, let there be. You can say, let there be. Just like you have natural children, or you have blended children, or you have adopted children that have the same last name that you have the same authority that you have in your name. Guess what? We have the same as God. And he's given us the authority to change the situation, to change the circumstance. Just open up your mouth. Stop letting people tell you what you can and can't do and have, and you just know what you can do and have. It's simple. Be grateful. I don't care how bad it's looking. It doesn't have to stay that way. Mm-hmm. It's not going to stay that way when you change your words.
Right.
Go ahead, babe.
And just having a heart of gratefulness. Gratefulness brings about abundance of happiness, abundance of joy, abundance of peace, abundance of strength. It just brings abundance of wealth. Being grateful, just being grateful. I have here two types of gratefulness, or two types of gratitude.
Go ahead.
Conditional gratitude.
Conditional
gratitude.
Two types of gratitude. Check this out, guys. Two types of gratitude.
One is conditional, and one is no matter what gratitude. Conditional gratitude is when or if. It depends on what's going on. When it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, when am I going to get it? If I'm going to get it, no matter what gratitude, is just grateful in life. It does not matter what's going on. It's not dependent upon what's going on. It doesn't matter what's going on. You're just grateful. Just having that that attitude of gratefulness, a heart of just being grateful.
No. Go ahead.
So, conditional gratitude. Depending on what's going on. If I'm not happy, I ain't grateful. Oh, I'm happy this moment, so I'm grateful. Oh, my foot hurt. I'm not grateful. Oh, I can't walk on this foot. I'm not grateful. But guess what? You got another foot. If you can't walk on one, walk on the other. It's always something to be grateful for, is the point that I'm making. It's always something to be grateful to be grateful for. We have to make a conscious decision to be grateful.
And and it's like, as simple as that sounds, or as simple as that may be, is real. Because I mean, we've been there. We've been there when our gratefulness was predicated upon what was going on, the conditions that we were experiencing, how much money was coming in, how much money wasn't coming in, were all the bills paid, did we like the job that we was working? We've been there. That's a conditional gratitude. Whether or not I was speaking to her or she was speaking to me, whether or not the kids were calling, whatever those things may be, that's a conditional gratefulness. Whether or not friends are mindful of you, or whether or not you get the promotion, that's a conditional gratefulness or conditional gratitude. But when you're truly gracious and you have true gratitude, it's no matter what. No matter if on the outside things may look a certain way, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. No matter, let me tell you guys something. I've learned how to walk in this gratitude so much that it hasn't mattered what I've done. Because I've been grateful, I've been a success. Because I've been grateful, I've risen to the top. It didn't matter what I was doing. It happened so fast, it was blowing those minds around me, because they're like, how did this dude keep doing this every time he's doing something? Because I'm grateful.
Gotta be grateful.
I remember going into optics. Didn't know a thing about optics. Went from not knowing a thing about optics to being not only the number one seller, but the number one guy in the company in less than 2 years. Because I was grateful to learn something that I never learned before. I was grateful for that experience. Although at the particular time when I started, I was making one thing, but when I left, I was making double. Because of gratefulness. I remember about 6 years ago saying, you know what? I made me some part-time money. Let me drive Uber. And I started driving Uber. And there's this negative connotation to Uber drivers. And I thank God for those, because it put me in a position one time in life. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? It showed me how to trust and believe. And so I never forget starting doing that part-time, then flipping over doing it full-time, and went from part-time making XYZ amount of dollars to full-time making over 6 figures and I'm making my own schedule. Gratitude. I was grateful, even though I heard the snickers and even though I heard the sayings behind what I was doing, it didn't matter to me because I was responsible for taking care of my family. I was responsible for paying my bills and being a light and a beacon to my home. That was my responsibility. So I couldn't worry about what others thought. And then now God has even opened up even more doors for us and opportunities. And man, it's like, but that was because I learned to be grateful. Mm-hmm. It wasn't conditional. I graduated from having conditional gratitude years ago. Mm-hmm. And when I graduated from that conditional gratitude, guess what? Every area of my life started increasing. Every area. And you looking at your family, and this is why we're sharing this, because this is what blessed us in the blended family. Yeah. I wasn't grateful early on. And because I wasn't grateful early on in this family dynamic, I wasn't experiencing the things I should have been experiencing. I didn't get from this blended family what this blended family was designed to give me. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't give this blended family what I was designed to give it. Mm-hmm. But when I became grateful in everything that I did, guess what? Things began to turn around. Mm-hmm. And when they turned around, it's been on and popping ever since.
And even sometimes just sitting down and waking up being grateful and just sitting down and writing out, even if you start with just one thing a day, just one thing that you're grateful for. And sometimes I can think back to times where, like, when you sit and you thinking, it's like you sitting there for like 5 minutes and like, ooh, what am I grateful for? You know, and then there's times now you sit down and you got 10 on the list, and then it's like, oh, shoot, 20, 30. I mean, it's just so many things to be grateful for in spite of the way that things is now.
But see, first of all, you have to make a conscious decision to be grateful. Mm-hmm. That's first. Before we can even write some stuff down, you got to first make a conscious decision to be grateful. Yep. Listen, this right before this end of this year, this day, make a conscious decision to be grateful. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it feels like. I don't care what's going on. Make a conscious decision to be grateful. Mm-hmm. When you make a conscious decision to be grateful, you will start seeing things to be grateful for. Mm-hmm. And this is why it's so hard, sweetheart, for a lot of folks to write down 10 things to be grateful for, is because they too busy trying to compare things with others. Prime example. I'm grateful for the activity of my limbs. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful for the activity of my limbs because when I was born, I was crippled. Mm-hmm. And I know that's not the terminology that people like to hear in the medical field, but guess what? I could care less because you didn't heal me. You didn't heal my body. I was born crippled. That was the terminology then. Get over it. God healed me. So I'm grateful. They said I would never play football because I had a heart condition. I played football. Got a scholarship to play football. I'm grateful. Was shot 5 times point blank. I'm here. I'm grateful. Guess what? There's so many things to be grateful for. All you got to do is take a moment to look at what God has done for you. Look how good he's been. Guess what? You got a list of things to be grateful for. Now, yeah, things you may want things a little different right now, but guess what? You still can be grateful. Be grateful for that $12 hour job because guess what? That's right now. That's not tomorrow. You can walk into work tomorrow and guess what? They've been watching you for the last 2-3 years, been seeing your consistency, been seeing your work performance and want to promote you to vice president. Right. To manager, to supervisor. You have no idea. I've seen it, been there, done it. Been there, done it. And so if you just take the time to be grateful, watch this, the list will come on. Go ahead, sweetie.
understanding that there is, we've already basically touched bases on this one, but understanding that there is always something to be grateful for.
Always
something to be grateful for.
Always. Y'all hear how I talk? You hear my voice, and is raspy and scratchy. Well, guess what? A lot of people don't know that came from me being shot in the neck. I was shot in the back of the neck, and it came out the side of my neck right here. Went in the back here, went around my spine, and came out the side of my neck. So whatever damage or things that was done on the inside, this is a part of that. This is what came out of that voice. This isn't people that knew me growing up. I didn't sound like this growing up. This is a whole new voice for me. But this was a product or a byproduct of me getting shot in the neck. Well, guess what? I'm grateful because that bullet was designed to take my voice. That bullet was designed to take my words. And because it's still ability to decree a thing, to declare a thing, to call those things that be not as though they were, I still have that ability. And because I got that ability, man, I'm grateful. And I'm using it every single chance I get. That's why sometimes even when I talk, it sounds like I get hoarse and I get winded and tired. That's all a part of that. Mm-hmm. But I'm grateful to be able to do it. Go
ahead. And in gratefulness, understanding that in things, we're grateful in things. We're not always grateful for things.
I ain't grateful for being shot.
You know what I mean? Like, no, just saying, because it can seem like you're saying just be grateful, not you, but sometimes we hear that and it's like, no, I ain't grateful. Because, okay, like prime example, you hear a lot of people say, oh, they may have went through certain things in life, that wasn't good things. They had, bad things that happened. And you've heard people say, oh, that made me who I am today. I'm glad that happened or whatever. No, we're grateful and thankful in things, but not always for things, because everything that happens to us is not good for us.
Because let me say this, me getting shot did not make me stop that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I got worse. I was a good guy in that lifestyle. People that know me know I wasn't a thug. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can catch these paws, but I wasn't a person that was doing bad things. I wasn't that type of person. I knew how to defend myself, but I wasn't one where people love me. But guess what? After I got shot, I was becoming that person. It didn't make me want to stop doing those things. As a matter of fact, it made me dig even deeper into it. I really began to get creative in it after that. And so it's not those things that you can pull off and say, if I wouldn't have went through this, no, that's a lie. You change because you want to change. You're just like this right now. You make a conscious decision to be grateful. Because many people right now, they come into the close of the year and they're not grateful. Listen, turn the TV off, especially the news. Stop listening to all that junk, man. You're listening to all these bad, all these terrible reports about the economy and what's going on and what's going to go on in the next 6 months or the next 12 months. Guess what? That don't have any ability to stop God's plan for your life. None. There's not a shortage of money. There's not going to be a shortage of money. It's not. Believe that. It's not happening. Not in your lifetime anyway. So stop letting them project to you what's going to be, and you start projecting to the world what you want. Because it's not going to happen. Listen, the moment you're grateful, the moment you can see a good idea. Those people that's making masks, they got grateful. They were grateful just to have an opportunity to think of something creative, and they put that thing to work. They put it to work. Go ahead, baby.
And you got all kind of people making all kinds of masks.
All kinds of things they doing.
Yeah.
Every designer, I don't care if it's Gucci, I don't care if it's Ferragamo, I don't care if it's Ralph Lauren, I don't care whatever designer out there, guess what? They got masks. Everybody, listen to what I'm saying, guys. Everybody is tapping into this. Masks have become a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yep.
Masks, those things you put around your face to stop stuff from going out and coming in, have become a billion-dollar industry.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody was grateful enough to look beyond what they were going through, the circumstances, and come up with a creative idea. Let the juices flow, man. Let them flow. In gratefulness, juices flow. Write that down. In gratefulness, juices flow. People that aren't grateful, guess what? They've lost their creativity. When you lose your gratefulness, you lose your ability to create. Yeah, wow. When you lose your gratefulness, you lose the ability to create.
That goes with we have here. Gratitude is a way of being, a state of living. When we live from gratitude, we see opportunities that were here all along, but we couldn't see them from the frequency of doubt, worry, fear, or criticism.
When we live from gratitude, we see opportunities that were here all along. You guys hear that? She said, when we live from gratitude, watch this. When we live, we see. Mm-hmm. When we live, hear this, guys. When we live, we see. Mm-hmm. Which tells me you're not seeing because you're not living. When you live in a place, you can see from that place. Mm-hmm. That's why they tell you to meditate. Mm-hmm. When you meditate, that puts you in a place of living. In that place of living, you can see from a different perspective than you could naturally. And so when we live from gratitude, from that address of gratitude, 123 Gratitude Boulevard, when we live there, you can see opportunity far down the road. You can see opportunity. I don't care where it's at in the world, you can see it. Why? Because you're living in a place of gratitude. Because it's there all along.
Right.
It's there all along. It's almost like, oh man, it's like looking for a shirt in the closet. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That shirt in the closet didn't pop out of nowhere. It's been there. You just couldn't see it. You know why you couldn't see it? Because you wasn't in the place to see it. See, when you're in a place of frustration, worry, doubt, fear, criticism, blame, that's the place that keeps you from seeing what you should be seeing. But when you move on over to the Gratitude Boulevard, man, you're seeing it all. Go ahead, babe.
Gratefulness brings about blessings in your family, in your blended family. You can even take time to sit down, sit the family down, because we're still talking about blended families.
Still.
Sit your family down and each person go around the room and everybody say one thing that they're grateful for. You know, make it fun. What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? And have it where they can't say the same thing that somebody else said. It gives you different things to come up with as far as being grateful.
And the reason why that's so important, because gratefulness is the frequency that is harmonious with abundance. Mm-hmm. Let me say it again. Gratefulness is the frequency that is harmonious with abundance. Because guess what? There's gratefulness and then there's abundance. Mm-hmm. And that frequency is supposed to be on the same wavelength. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be on the same thing. Mm-hmm. When you're grateful and abundance, they right on the same wavelength. Mm-hmm. And when you're grateful, guess what? Now you're triggering abundance. Mm-hmm. When you're grateful, now you're triggering abundance. All abundance is doing is waiting for gratefulness to pop on the scene. And when gratefulness pop on the scene, guess what? Abundance begin to move. And when abundance begin to move, things begin to change. Your life begin to change. Your marriage begin to change. Your family begin to change. Your children begin to change. Why? Because you're grateful. Yep. because you're allowing gratefulness to prevail. Mm-hmm. And gratefulness now begins to speak because gratefulness has the ability to call out abundance. Now, gratefulness saying, hey, abundance, where you at? Mm-hmm. I need to holler at you. Mm-hmm. And so when abundance hit gratefulness, now abundance, see, the reason why abundance haven't been answering the phone is because gratefulness haven't been calling them. See, what's been called an abundance is frustration. What's been called an abundance is fear. What's been called an abundance is doubt. What's been called an abundance is worry. What's been called an abundance is frustration. And see, abundance like this, I don't know that number. Yeah. Yeah. Abundance. Let me tell you something. Abundance is a bad boy. Abundance is like this little app I got called RoboBlock. When you be getting all them calls, abundance like this. Oh, we don't know that number. Mm-hmm. We're going to block that. And many of you calling from the place of doubt and worry and fear and frustration. And abundance is sitting by the phone like this. I don't know that number. Mm-hmm. I don't know that number. I don't know that number. And you're getting upset because abundance isn't answering, all because you're not calling from a place of gratitude. You're not calling from a place of gratefulness. You're calling from the place of all these other negative vibrations and spirits, and you wonder why abundance isn't picking up. And so understand this, guys. Gratitude is the frequency that is harmonious with abundance. Go ahead, baby.
Gratitude turns what we have into enough and more than enough.
Say that again.
Gratitude turns what we have into enough and more than enough.
Wow. Gratitude turns what we have
into enough and more than enough.
So talk about that. What you mean?
When we're grateful, mm-hmm. we may have just you have enough to cover bills. You have enough to pay this. You have enough to pay that. So you good. You got enough. You covering. Everything's done. All those needs been met. But when you turn up gratitude give you more than enough. Not only are your needs met, but now your wants are granted. Your heart's desires are fulfilled. So that gratefulness take you from enough to more than enough.
Okay, so is it safe then to say that gratitude turns what we have that is enough into more than enough?
Yeah.
Okay. And then because the reason why I say this is because what constitutes enough?
Well, you would know everybody's it may be situational, because your enough may be more than enough for somebody else, or somebody else's enough might be more than enough for my enough.
Okay, because you know that smirk mean I don't agree with you, right? So
it depends on what you think is enough.
No, I'm gonna tell you why I don't agree with you. Because there's not a such thing as enough. And I don't want people listening. Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't want people listening to us to subscribe to that.
No, go ahead and I'll tell you what I meant by that.
No. You don't have to. I heard you. I'm a good listener.
Okay. No.
But I want to be clear for the listeners.
Okay.
Because you can say something, but the interpretation from what you said is what they get. So I'm addressing it from what I heard.
Okay.
When you talk about enough, mm-hmm. enough is never enough. Because you were designed for abundance.
I agree.
You were designed and created for abundance. Mm-hmm. And when people say enough, that's a selfish connotation. That's a selfish statement. Because we were never designed for just us. That's why he said, be fruitful and multiply. Because it's our sole responsibility to be more than we are.
Got it.
And so since it's our sole responsibility to be more than we are, then it's our sole responsibility to have more than we have. And to do more than we do, and to be more than we are. That's our responsibility. So when you say enough, that's limited, because enough is limited just to you. And so while you may be able to pay your bills and you may be able to take care of your situation, what about those that you were assigned to? What about the family members? What about the children? What about the parents? What about the loved ones that you were assigned to assist? That because you just have enough, you can't help them. Because see, at the end, see, that's why he said it's more blessed to give than to receive. What is blessed? Blessed is empowerment. It is more empowering to give than it is to receive. Because when you're giving out of abundance. You're giving out of more than enough, not enough. Because if you're giving out of enough, now you're taking away from you. So I'm telling you that you have to be in a place of growth, in a place of prosperity, because it's your responsibility to give. That's why he said, give and it shall be given back unto you. Give and it shall be given back unto you. Give and it shall be given back unto you. Out of your abundance, give, and guess what? Abundance will return.
Absolutely.
Out of your enough, give, and guess what? There isn't enough. That's why that doesn't work.
I got you.
Because if you give out of your enough, guess what? Now there isn't enough. There isn't enough for you, and there isn't enough for the person that you are intending on assisting or helping. Because you're not going to give all yours, because you still got responsibilities. But guess what? You giving them isn't taking care of all of theirs either. And so your ability to give out of the abundance now not only take care of you, but it take care of others. And so that's why I stopped you right there, because it's important to have that understanding. It's important, man. Gratitude turns what we have. It's like us. We're able to give out of In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman because we haven't just giving out of enough. We're giving out of more than enough. There's so much that we have to, as it relates to this area of life, to give. And so every time we take this platform, it's not taken away from us, because we have so much of it to give that us giving is just making room for even more, which allows us to give even more. Why? Because it's just not out of the place of enough, but out of the place of more than enough. And this has taken our lives. I mean, just talk about the last 8 months have been phenomenal. Why? Because we're giving out of the place of more than enough. Because guess what? It's time to move or choose gratitude over complaint. How can we choose gratitude over complaint?
Just by choosing it. Choose to be grateful instead of complaining. Just don't complain.
Man, that sounds
even when
easy. It sounds easier than said. Easy said than done.
I mean, it is, but just with just the speaking instead of complaining, just replace it with I'm grateful. Not that you're not gonna feel like complaining, or not that you may think things inwardly sometimes, and then we have to be careful with our thoughts as well. But just when you feel like you want to complain about something, instead of complaining about it, just say, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Oh, I'm grateful. Until you believe it.
That sounds so easier said than done.
Yeah, a lot of things do.
It do, but watch this, guys. The reason why you want to choose gratitude over complaint is because, I mean, I'm a word guy. And the word says that his word doesn't go out void, but it accomplished that what it pleased, and it prospered to the things where he sent it. And since we were created in his image and in his likeness, guess what? Our word doesn't come back empty. It doesn't come back empty. It accomplished some things. Guess what? When you're complaining, Remember we talked about that vibration and that wavelength? When you're complaining, you're drawing things to you. Look at your life. Look at the last 6 months of the things you've complained about. And look at how many times those things have attached themselves to you. When you complain about not enough money, guess what? There's not enough money. There's never going to be enough money when you complain about not having money. Why? Because you're calling not enough money. You're decreeing not enough money. There's never going to be love. There's never going to be peace. There's never going to be joy when you're always talking about the lack of peace, the lack of love, the lack of joy. When you're talking about the lack thereof, guess what you're going to have? The lack thereof. It's not going to change. What you say is a magnet. You draw to you just what you talk about. One of the most valuable lessons I've ever learned came from my spiritual mom. She said early on in her marriage, she acted like her husband was acting like he was supposed to act, and it changed the way she acted. Let me say that again because I just lost somebody on that. She said she acted like her husband was acting like he was supposed to act, but watch this. It changed the way she acted. She didn't say it changed the way he acted. It says it changed the way she acted. When she began to act like he was doing right, it changed her. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that means there were some things she could no longer complain about because she wouldn't have got that change. Mm-hmm. She wouldn't have changed. And because she changed, she ultimately was the recipient of the change. I'm telling you guys, we're telling you guys, listen, change your conversation. Change your complaint to gratitude, and you will begin to experience more things to be grateful for. You'll begin to experience it. If you're always complaining about meals not being made, you coming home and this not done and that not done, and listen, I got more out of my children when I begin to be thankful and grateful for them than I did when I complained about what they weren't doing. I got more out of them.
Let me ask you though. Okay, like in complaining about stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Is there a way to have a conversation about stuff and not complain? Because sometimes people can take things as you having a conversation about certain things that may need to be done, or certain things that need to happen, or certain things that like just say the yard need to be cleaned. Uh-huh. So is there a way to discuss having to get that yard clean without it being complained about?
No.
Why not? Because in saying that, then sometimes it may seem like somebody, you may never get a chance. You know what I mean? Like how do you
don't get a chance to vent?
How do you
That's all it is.
That?
You don't get a chance to vent.
No,
that's all it is.
So if you know, like the yard need to be done,
okay,
and
then go do the yard.
Who? Just anybody?
You say if you know the yard need to be done, and if he not doing the yard, you go do the yard.
Okay. No, I just asked it, is there a difference in discussing and like discussing things?
Man, I know I'm gonna get some responses on that. But
yeah, because in discussing and complaining, that's two different. That could be two different things
to you.
Right, to one person. So
beauty is only in the eye of the beholder.
Okay.
So it's like us having a conversation. I can't tell you that I'm not complaining, and you can't tell me that you're not complaining. It's what we hear from each other that's the complaint.
But there's sometimes with that though, then there's sometimes that a person then, if they're not able to discuss something, or really like if a discussion seems like a complaint all the time, right? So you got a discussion and a complaint. discussion, and a complaint. How do things get addressed?
You ready?
How do you address
the Bible
things?
says that a woman has the ability
I ain't talking about just a woman, I'm talking
no,
about
watch
children
this.
or whoever.
It's a principle. It's a principle. I'm just saying. I'm not yelling. You know how I talk. I'm not yelling. It's a principle. It don't matter. When I'm discussing something, man, it's a principle. It does not matter. Principles work for anybody and everybody that will use them.
Yes.
So it's a principle. You can win a person with the word, without a word.
So how do you tell your children to do? How do
you set an example? You set an example. You set an example. If children see you always picking up behind yourself, if they see you always cleaning up, if they see you always doing things and you bring them into that participation, guess what's going to happen? You're going to teach them that thing. The reason why I know I can cook well, even though I don't, but I know I can, is because growing up, my parents put me in the kitchen with them. They didn't just send me out there and while they cook, they allowed me to participate in that. And so I began to learn the things of the kitchen just like they did. The reason why I keep a clean home and a clean vehicle is because I participated in a system. You can't get something from something if you don't put something in it. And we want to see change. People want to see change. They want to see things take place, but they don't want to put anything in it. When you're complaining, all you're doing is generating more of what you've been talking about. Complaining has never changed a person's mind. Complaining has never changed a person's actions. It has never. But guess what? You changing you has changed people's mind. You changing you has changed their actions. You ever had somebody that didn't like you for no reason? And instead of you always talking about they don't like me, they hate me, because you know I can't stand those stupid things people always talking about haters. Man, where you get that from? Get another word of language in your mouth talking about somebody hating you. Talk about love. Hate. So what? They don't like you. Guess what? They ain't the first, they ain't gonna be the last person don't like you. But if you begin to change your action, guess what? They will. King said this: love is the only force that can make an enemy a foe. Love. You want to see things change? Love. You want to see this change? Love. You want him to do, guess what? No real man gonna let his wife cut the grass. No real man gonna let his wife mow the lawn and sweep up leaves. That ain't gonna happen. He might allow her to come out there with him, but he not gonna have her doing it. Not a real man. There's some boys out here that's of age, but they ain't men. It's a difference. And a lot of complaints be coming because you just got grown boys and girls and you don't have men and women. Because they haven't been taught to be a man. They haven't been taught to be a woman. And so when you haven't been taught, you can't do. My boy said this one time, a conversation was being had, and he heard a statement that was said. He said, listen, I'm not dumb. I just don't know. And see, a lot of people fighting against dumbness, and it's not dumbness. That person just don't know. That's why there's things now like in the blender. It's not because people or whatever, they just don't know. And we share us so that you can know. We share principles and ideals so that you can know, so that you don't have to continue to go down this road. You don't have to continue to stay in the same state you were in. That's a choice. Now you can hear this information and you can begin to change. All it takes is one word. All it takes is one word. Go ahead, sweetheart, close this out.
Gratitude is an open door to be happier, healthier, and wealthier.
Can you say that differently?
Gratitude is an open door to happiness, makes you healthier and wealthier in life. Because gratitude is going to bring all that. When you're grateful, you're happy. When you're grateful, you're joyous. When you're grateful, you're healthy. Because if you take away if you take away gratefulness and you bring in like worry and doubt, your body, all that stuff started to break your body down.
Yeah.
So when you replace a lot of that with gratitude, it just brings about full abundance in your life in every area. every area.
And I'm gonna tell you guys something. It's like a lot of times when people meet us, and we tell them about our family and our family dynamics, and we tell them about our children and our children's age and our grandchildren, and they look at us and they be like, "It's no way. It's no way you guys got grown children. There's no way you got grandchildren." And the reason why we look the way we look is because we're grateful. It's a preserver. You want to see somebody that look 10 years older than what they really are? That's a byproduct of them not being grateful. Because when you're not grateful, man, it's a deterioration. Mm-hmm. Life begins to crumble. You look older than what you really are. That youthfulness is gone. Because youthfulness is a part of joy. Mm-hmm. It's a part of peace and health and wealth. All those things begin to leave. It's like going on Facebook and you graduated with this person and they look 10, 15 years older than you. You know why? Because they haven't been grateful in life. They haven't. Because when you're grateful, man, you'll reap the benefits of that gratefulness. It'll keep you. It will keep. I already know. You can pull a picture from high school. I don't look that much older. And I've been out of high school over 30 years. I don't look that much older. I'm just bald now. I had a head full of hair. But I don't look that much older. My skin ain't dry. I don't got crow's feet or whatever that stuff is around the eyes. I don't have none of those things. Man, if I let the beard grow on it, it's going to be a little gray. It's going to be smoky. But other than that, no. My voice is a little more raspy, but that's because of what I went through, not because I'm old, but because of gratefulness.
Be grateful to be old. Some people don't even live to be old. So many people complain about being old or saying this person old, or you see someone be like, "Oh, they old." Oh, hey, thank God. Be grateful that you made it because
folks live long anyway,
and they dying younger.
Yeah,
and they're dying younger now. So I'm grateful.
And so, man, listen, we just want to close out this year. We got one more broadcast before the end of the year, but we just want to encourage you guys to be grateful. In everything, give thanks. Mm-hmm. Not for everything, but in everything. Give thanks. In everything, be grateful. Because why? This is the will of God concerning you, man. If you want to be in his will, and guess what? In his will, there's some provisions left. In his will, if you ever go to a will reading, people love will reading because will readings reveal things that a person has set up for you that you did not know they had set up for you. That's why he says, in everything give thanks, because this is his will. In that will, you will experience some things about life, man, that will blow your mind.
Yes.
You will be attached to the right people. The right ideas will come. The right opportunities will present themselves. The right situation will just unfold for you. Why? Because you're grateful. You want to close this year out with a bang, man? Listen, Madeline said this. Write down tonight. Let me say it again. Tonight, before you go to bed, write down 10 things that you're grateful for.
If you can't do 10, do 5.
You can do 10. Write down 10 things. I don't care if you're grateful for a pair of pants, if you're grateful for a shirt, write those things down. Because that one piece of shirt, that one piece of material can produce hundreds of them. Mm-hmm. Listen, take the time, man. Don't worry about what others have. Just look at what you have. Look at what in spite of what you think you've lost or what you don't have, you still have something to be grateful for. Write it down.
All right. And with that said, you can reach us via email at weareablendedfamily@gmail.com and our website intheblenderministries.com. Don't forget to tune in on Thursdays to WJMS Radio from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. You can also catch replays of this on iTunes, Stitcher, all the social media sites. We're on there. YouTube. Yep. Facebook.
Listen, if there's something that we share even on tonight that you want to talk about a little later, how can they reach us, sweetheart?
Via email. weareablendedfamily@gmail.com.
We welcome all your questions. We welcome your comments, your concerns, because it's our endeavor to build a blended family, because the blended family can be a little messy. And so we want you guys to be encouraged as we come to the close of this awesome, awesome year, knowing that the best is here. It's not yet to come. It is here. All you got to do is walk in it. We love you. We adore you. And until next time, goodbye.